Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, grab your popcorn, your milk duds, or your protein shake. Personally, I prefer a protein shake whenever I'm about to watch a movie. Let me know what your favorite snack is in the comment section down below. We are back with our weekly Antonio Brown update. And bro, I'm not kidding. I am this close to making Antonio Brown his own playlist on this channel, just so you can see how this saga is unfolding, because his story is absolutely phenomenal. But before we get to that, guys, we are officially 35,000 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers on this channel. I can't believe it, man. I am absolutely honored and awestruck that you guys have shown me this much love and support. If you happen to love NFL content or my content, please subscribe and turn notifications on. But if you're on the fence on that, if you could leave a like, it'll really do wonders in helping the channel grow. I'm on 5 hours of sleep right now, man. I make like 3 videos a day, and we're launching a brand new soccer channel. Yes, that's right. The soccer channel is officially going to have content updated on it. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description down below. It's at about 2,000 subscribers. If we could get that to like 3 or 4, that would be awesome. Now, in addition to this, guys, I've been teasing this Marvin Harrison project that we've been doing for a very, very long time. I'm going to leave a link to the premiere in the description down below. If you want to go and turn notifications on for it or leave a like on it or whatever, please, we worked really, really hard on it. Now, on to the AB news. I apologize for the minute-and-a-half intro. Again, very low sleep. I tend to ramble from time to time when I don't sleep very well. So, Antonio Brown has been actually making a very good impression on all of us recently. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but when's the last time you've heard some sort of crazy head-ass thing about Antonio Brown? When's the last time you've heard him do something ridiculous or stupid or something that just makes you shake your head? I don't know if it's the fact that we're in the midst of a pandemic and we really can't do anything, or if it's the fact that he finally got a publicist or someone to handle him, or if he's just been doing yoga and meditating. But the only news I've been seeing from Antonio Brown thus far are updates about his workouts. It seems like this man is absolutely on his grind and motivated to come back to the NFL. Now, here's the thing about that. There are 2 teams, and I've said this in the previous videos. Originally, I actually thought that the Philadelphia Eagles would have been a huge contender to sign Antonio Brown. And even before the NFL draft, I thought the Dallas Cowboys would love to sign Antonio Brown. Think about it. It's your typical Jerry Jones type of move. Signing a diva that's always in the headlines, just so you could put the Dallas Cowboys always in the headlines, marketing the Dallas Cowboys brand, even though they're going to come out with another subpar season. At least we're making money, right, Jerry? Sorry, I'm a little bit bitter as a Cowboy fan, but you guys get what I'm saying. Originally, I thought that AB and the Cowboys were a match made in heaven, but the Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb. They have way too many receivers as is. But after that, I thought, all right, the Eagles didn't really get the target they wanted. They wanted CeeDee Lamb in the draft. They had to opt for Jalen Reagor. I know Eagles fans aren't really that hyped about Jalen Reagor because he was compared to Nelson Agholor, and they don't really have the greatest memories of Nelson Agholor. I just thought AB was a perfect fit for Philly, but that didn't end up materializing as well. So there are 2 teams from where I see it that are actually mulling over signing Antonio Brown as we speak. The first team that is considering it is the Seattle Seahawks, and that situation is a little bit more interesting to me than the second team, because you see, the reason why Antonio Brown has been so heavily linked to the Seattle Seahawks is because he's been doing these off-season workouts with not Russell Wilson, but with Geno Smith, which is really interesting. You don't think of a journeyman QB / former draft bust. I don't know. Is Geno Smith technically a draft bust? I think he got drafted way, way, way too late to be considered a bust. But if you're working out with a team's backup quarterback, right, chances are that's not going to stir up a lot of controversy. So there has to be more to it than that. Well, there is. Russell Wilson came out about 3 weeks ago saying that he would absolutely love having Antonio Brown on the roster. And then if you factor into consideration the fact that the Seahawks already have Tyler Lockett, they have DK Metcalf, they're only trying to replace their last troubled wide receiver who's currently applying for reinstatement, by the way, after admitting to a relapse. We could leave the link to that video in the description down below. It's my Jamal Adams video as well. The Seahawks are officially in the market for a wide receiver. Now, I think the Seahawks are a phenomenal fit for AB. I think they're a remarkable fit for AB because Pete Carroll has shown me time and time again that he could take the loudmouth, potentially troubled and controversial player and turn him into a star. He's shown me that with Richard Sherman. He's shown me that with Marshawn Lynch, and he kind of showed me that with Josh Gordon. Pete Carroll is really good at accepting people's personalities for what they are. He's really good at using a player's personality and pushing him to be more of himself. And after that player feels validated, then that player typically performs really, really well. Of course, Josh Gordon had a slip up, but I'm not going to really 100% count him because, dude, the man's dealing with addiction. Addiction's a different animal. You can't judge a man because of that. But in the case of Richard Sherman, we saw him do phenomenal under Pete Carroll, although he kind of got bored of Pete Carroll at the end. In the case of Marshawn Lynch as well, and in the case of Josh Gordon, and that's only off the top of my head. If there are any other Pete Carroll reclamation projects that I'm forgetting, please let me know in the comment section down below. But in addition to this, there is another team in the fold, and I'm sure most of you guys know this other team. And if there's another team that I'm missing, please let me know in the comments, or if you think both of these teams are just not the move or not the right team for AB, let me know in the comment section as well. The other team seems significantly more logical, and I think a little bit more likely. And again, the report that came out about the Seahawks and this other team were one report. Both teams are considering signing Antonio Brown. It's according to an NFL Network report. And the other team is the Baltimore Ravens. And we've already discussed this before. We've discussed this at length. The Baltimore Ravens are trending upward. They're in the midst of a crazy, crazy culture change, which is very rare if you think about it under the same head coach. But this culture change is a result of their offensive coordinator and their starting QB, which kind of makes me scared because if Greg Roman leaves Baltimore, what does Baltimore do then? But that's a different topic for a different day. What we're discussing about now is Antonio Brown is potentially going to be signed by either the Baltimore Ravens or the Seattle Seahawks. The Baltimore Ravens could control AB as well. They don't really have as much of a track record with discipline, but they are a world-class organization. They have been very consistent in developing talent, and they were an absolute joy to watch this past season. They have the reigning MVP in Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson seems to have garnered the respect and the love of practically the entire NFL. The only people I know that don't like Lamar Jackson are the analysts that are saying, he choked in the playoffs. But he has a beautiful and bright future ahead of him. But this is before I even mention the fact that Antonio Brown's cousin, Hollywood Brown, Marquise Hollywood Brown, is currently playing for the Baltimore Ravens, and he is thriving. These two guys are working out with one another, and they're clearly on good terms with each other. When Lamar Jackson was asked this offseason about the possible acquisition of Antonio Brown, he said he would be absolutely ecstatic if the team was to sign Antonio Brown. Could you imagine last year's number one offense gets arguably the best wide receiver in the league, at least before, what happened this past season? If I asked you 2 years ago, we could all agree that Antonio Brown's the best wide receiver in the league. I don't know if that's the case right now. Let me know in the comments who your favorite wide receiver is in the entire NFL and who you think's the best. But before all the craziness that happened with AB, I thought AB is the best. Currently, I think maybe Mike Thomas is the best or DeAndre Hopkins. You're going to have to let me know. But meanwhile, Antonio Brown is teasing all of us. He's dropping these workouts with his cousin, and at the same time, he is keeping out of headlines and keeping a quiet profile. Now, whether that will materialize or not once he joins a new team is yet to be seen. But I think this past season was very instrumental for Antonio Brown's development. I think it was very important for him to realize, hey, if I don't get my act together, a team is just going to move on from me. They're not going to mess with me. They're not going to entertain me. I'm not going to be worth the trouble despite how productive I am. And we saw this happen to Terrell Owens. We kind of saw it happen to Randy Moss at the tail end of his career. So I think Antonio Brown has the message straight at this point that he needs to be more of a no-nonsense type of guy. Now, if you ask me at the end of the day, who do I think he's most likely to sign with? I can't help but think it's the Ravens. Yeah, the Seahawks make plenty of sense, and the Seahawks are a phenomenal team in their own right. They're a potential perennial lock to make it to the playoffs every single season so long as Russell Wilson's under center. But if you have to choose between that and, I don't know, a really, really good and fun team that had the top-ranked offense last season and has your best friend and cousin on that roster, I don't know, man. I'd probably go for the team that has a family member on it, but I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. Is there another team that you think could use Antonio Brown? Maybe it's a different team that isn't mulling signing him. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Microphone, and I'll catch you guys in the next upload.